Hello. Can you say hi? So I am author Cara Ruegg, the writer of the Kingdom of Dragons series, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on the Storm and Spire Series, Book 1, Magnify, by Stefanie Lozinski. Hopefully I'm saying her name correctly. Sorry, I have my notes here so I don't forget anything. The age recommendation for this book, I would probably say, would be like a mature 13-year-old and up, just because while it is clean and there's no impurity or anything like that, there are some violent scenes, some darker scenes, pretty vivid descriptions of like dead bodies and things like that. So, and then there's also the main character, Wes, grapples with suicide. So, yeah, I mean, I would say probably mature 13-year-old, but that is up to the parents' discretion. Hi! Do you see yourself on there? Yeah, you make all of the videos so much better. So Stefanie's book is very Christian. She was a Catholic author, so, that was a given, I guess. I feel like even when you're not writing something that is, the faith is a part of your life, as it should be, I feel like that is obviously going to come out across in your works, whether you intend for it or not. Like, you look at Tolkien and his works, I feel like they're very Catholic, even if he did not intend for them to be so. Sorry, I gave the baby back to Dada because he was not content in Mama's arms. Anyways, as I was saying, this book contains a lot of very Christian messages. The idea of one God, the High One, as he is called in the book, and one true religion, and so forth. Some parts of this book actually made me think of early Christians in Rome who converted from paganism. Because, while it's obviously a medieval setting and not, taking place in Rome or anything, but they do have this pagan religion, and, Wes particularly is in a tough spot being the envoy, because he's basically the priest of sorts, and he's like the only one, I think, that can offer the sacrifice to these false gods, because he was born with a moon scar on his face, and I guess that marks him, as their priest. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I hope that that's revealed later in some of the later books, because I am curious. But, why was he born with this moon scar? Was he born with this moon scar? Did someone inflict that on him? Did all the envoys have this moon scar? Yeah, I have questions like that, but anyways. I feel like I've kind of gone on a little bit of a tangent here without first introducing who the main characters are, which, as you can probably guess, one of the main characters is Wes, who is not your Gary Sue type, really. Like, he has a lot of flaws. He's not super handsome, not great at, wielding a sword, although he is good with a dagger. But he starts off very flawed, very cowardly, pondering suicide, even ponders leaving slave children to their own demise at one point, which I think is actually probably one of my favorite scenes in the book, because, you see a lot of this internal struggle with Wes, and you see his fear, you see all this, and then you see his desire to be noble and to do his bloodline proud, and while he's a coward, even, initially, like, we still like him. Like, I still liked him anyways. Like, I could sympathize with him. I could feel for him having that, dark, traumatic past that he does. But yeah, like, the character development that Stefanie has going on here is excellent. Like, it is probably some of the best I've seen in a long time. Both characters, Wes and Celesyria, the dragon, both start out pretty flawed, and at the end of the book you see like so much growth, particularly with Wes. I think Wes was Wes more so, just because maybe he was more flawed, and I almost kind of feel like we see his perspective a little bit more. So, there's more time to get to know him as well. Yeah, so then the next main character is Celesyria, who is a dragon, and she's actually named after a place in the Old Testament in the Book of Maccabees, in the Bible. And she's kind of flawed, although not as much as Wes was, or it starts off that way anyways. And she's a dragon, and she talks, which, is pretty cool, although I wasn't sure how I felt about it initially. Maybe because I was so immersed in my own story where dragons don't talk, it struck me as kind of weird. Because my dragons are far more animalistic than Stefanie's, which her dragons are very humanistic. Although they talk about the dragons not having a soul in her book, and I found that curious. I wonder what that's a symbol of, if it is a symbol of something, and how that's going to come to play in her later stories in the series, which I definitely plan to read. But anyways, Celesyria, she definitely had this teenage vibe to her as well, which I thought was kind of strange, being a dragon, being hundreds of years old or something. But I can see how that holds a lot of marketing value, being it's a young adult book. And let's face it, like, I'm not a young adult anymore. I'm an old adult. I'm in my 30s, so I can't believe that. I'm so old. Anyways, but still, like, I'm not a teenager anymore, so maybe that's why that struck me as a little, that doesn't have the same connection for me, I suppose, or value to me, being older. So, but her books are for young adults, for teenagers, so for a teenager, like, I think that holds a lot of value, and they can relate to the character and so forth. So, I don't know if I can be too critical about that. Overall, I would say I really enjoyed the story. I'd probably rate it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, just because, 5 stars, that's hard to come by for me. I think something has to really blow me away and be like, not that this book didn't blow me away, like, it was very good, but obviously I think that there could be some improvement, or something. What that could be, I don't know. But it's just hard, because when I think of 5 stars, I think perfection, right? And that's kind of almost impossible. But I mean, I could rate some books 5 stars for sure, but and maybe some of her next books will be 5 stars. But I think this is probably more 4.5 out of 5. But I probably will round up on Amazon and things, just so I can support my fellow indie author. Because I know how hard it is being an indie author. It does not come easy marketing, your book and marketing everything yourself and doing all this work yourself. It's a lot of work. Sometimes I even find it's hard to find someone just to read your book for free. It's terrible, but yeah. But I really did like this book. I frequently recommend this book on social media to others when I see someone asking for, like, a clean young adult read or a good fantasy book or what have you. Like, and so it left that much of an impression on me, right, to be willing to do that. So, definitely a well-written book. A lot of beautiful imagery, beautiful writing, beautiful world building, and definitely the character development. I think that was top notch. That was probably my favorite thing about this book, were the characters. So I definitely want to, see where these characters go in the next books. And, like, the ending was very riveting. It was definitely like a cliffhanger. I have to read the next one. So yes, but I definitely recommend this book. And, Yes, please subscribe. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave some comments below. Let me know how I can improve. I am really new to this YouTube thing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm really not the best speaker either. Maybe I'll improve, though, if I'm doing this enough. So just let me know what you think.